Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of our CapeSpace Connection series. I'm your host, Haley Cote, the Community Manager for CapeSpace Mashpee, and today I'm so pleased to have here with me Amanda Converse from Love Live Local. Hi, Amanda, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you? Thanks for
I'm
having
good.
me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. You ready to jump on in?
I'm ready to jump on in, and I truly appreciate you saying love, live local. We've got a lot of people saying live, love local, which, is fine too, but we like to say lead with the heart. So love, live
I
local.
I will admit I made the mistake too, so
Oh, happens all the time.
yeah. Awesome. So yeah, Amanda, so tell me about Love Live Local, about the origins of the organization and what you guys do.
Sure. We were, myself and my two co-founders, Jen Villa and Kate Sheehan. It was late 2012, and it was around the time that on the Cape there was this sort of ongoing narrative that there wasn't much for young professionals here, young people to do, um, and we were all small business owners. We definitely were very engaged in the community and felt like we were having a very different experience than what this prevailing narrative was. And so we were like, you know what? Why don't we share our thoughts? And so we started Love of Local as a monthly email. And we really just wanted to highlight the things that we love about the Cape. We were people that we traveled up and down Cape Cod and tried to have really great experiences wherever we went. And because we were small business owners, we're connected to a lot of other small business owners that we wanted to share their stories and tell Cape Codders about them. And so it really started as a monthly email, but it just quickly evolved into a whole lot more than that. And so we had our first Love Local Fest the summer of 2013, which was a community event where we had only Cape Cod makers and brands pop up for a day on overlooking Hyannis Harbor, and just had like a really feel good community event. And that has grown from, our first one, we had probably 30 vendors and, hundreds of people. And now we're up to like our holiday festival, we have about 120 vendors and
Wow.
the people come. And I think that's a testament to the fact that people really do want to support local makers and local businesses. And on that same track, we just kept finding more ways to tell the stories of our community, but really kind of throw a stake in the ground about why it's important to support our small businesses and our local businesses and our independents. It really is, something that prior to starting Love Live Local, I had been involved with the Hyannis Main Street Business Improvement District and started their Shop Local Day, and just really knew kind of the impact that local businesses had on our local community. And so we really found our voice, our advocacy voice in that realm. And so that's, we have a couple of publications we put out every year now that I call our propaganda material. We highlight products from local businesses, stories from local businesses, and really try to show people the hows and the whys of shopping local.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So I guess where does your particular passion stem from then in wanting to support the Cape's local businesses, and why do you personally think it is so important?
What's funny is my background's in environmental policy. So it was a very different, when I came back to the Cape, I actually had no intention of staying. I finished grad school, came back to kind of figure out my next move. And then, like I said, I started working for the Hyannis Main Street Business Improvement District. And it was my first time working with small businesses. I had always worked in the environmental field, throughout my schooling. And I had this misperception that you're a business owner, you're all set. Like you've got you've got money, you're good to go, you don't need any help. And working for the bid was a real big eye opener for me. over the last 30 to 40 years, small businesses have been really struggling. It used to be you start a small business, you work really hard, and you can definitely make a living, and that has changed a lot. And there are a lot of factors, market forces that are impacting the small business community. Corporate consolidation is one of them. The rise of the box store, the rise of e-commerce. It's definitely hurting our small businesses. And I started to see not only that they did in fact need support and need a voice, but that they give so much to the Cape Cod community. Small business owners are not only are they employing people, but they are also donating to local nonprofits. They're giving their time to the community, and they're providing our community with our unique character. There's tangibles and then there's intangible benefits to the local businesses here on the Cape and all across the country. And that's when it's interesting. That's when I started my own small business. I opened a retail store. And really, really, truly got an education on how hard it is to run a small business, particularly in this day and age.
Absolutely. So speaking of this day and age and this time we're living in, I feel like you guys have really been such a backbone of the community, through the Resilience Fund that you guys have created and have been that's been going on for the last several months. Can you tell everybody about what that's all about?
Sure. And thank you for saying that we're the backbone. We're a backbone. I consider, our small businesses as a backbone of this community. And that's why, when we were faced with a stay-at-home order in March and government regulations that were sort of impacting small businesses' ability to run their business and to invite customers into their space, it's a public health crisis. We get it, and the small business community gets it. But we knew that it was going to impact them in a very large way, and looked around in our community space at the resources that were already available. And there are great resources for individuals who need help. And this community has been really great for that for years. And with the Major Crisis Relief Fund, the Needy Fund, those places, the United Way, they are definitely stepping up to help individuals and help organizations, or helping individuals with food needs and rent needs and all of that. But we look at the small business as a separate entity. They are a living, breathing thing in our mind. And we knew that they were going to need support. And we knew that Cape Codders wanted to help them. We've been screaming for years that our small businesses are at risk. And our community is at risk for losing them. And this pandemic could accelerate that trend. And it has accelerated a ton of trends, as we've seen. And we were worried that it was going to impact them. We were going to lose a lot of them. So we launched the Cape Cod Resilience Fund in April. And really what our aim is to raise money in order to give out grants in the amounts of between $500 to $2,000 to small businesses in need. When we open up a grant funding round, they fill out a very simple application form. There's no paperwork required. There's no government approval. There's no, it really is just like, are you in need? And then we'll send you a check to help you cover at least one bill. And that was really our goal, was to just sort of give them a little bit of a breather, a little boost, a little morale boost. And since the start of the fund, we've had 2 rounds of grants. We recently crossed the $100,000 mark. And yeah, which, I mean, I feel like we can't take any credit, because it really has been the community, individuals. Over 400 people have donated to the fund. But beyond that, our local businesses have stepped up for their fellow local businesses. The people who are feeling like they have their feet underneath them, they're okay. They're doing fundraisers for us. They're donating their own money. We've raised thousands of dollars in that way. places like Cape Cod 5, helped us raise $10,000 for the fund. So, and we've been able to access some grant funding as well through the town of Barnstable and through the Cape and Islands License Plate Fund. So we've been kind of just trying to find pockets of money anywhere we can so that we can then distribute it to the local businesses. And so we've given out 96 grants since the beginning, which is great, but we've had over 160 applications. And so that's where it gets hard because we're like, there's still so much need out there. And there's going to be more. And that's, that's where we're going to keep going with it and keep raising money and keep looking for fundraising partnerships and grants to keep, just giving them a little bit of help. And, a lot of the businesses who have received it said beyond, being able to cover some expenses, they just felt like, wow, Cape Cod has our back and they want to see us survive.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's incredible. And I feel like, you must be learning so much about the community itself and the resiliency and kind of how everybody really is stepping up and banding together.
We live in a pretty special place. We're very, very fortunate, and it's not, whether it's the environment that attracts people here and keeps them here, I think the thing that makes it so incredibly special are the people. And, it's all of the people who want our community to make it through this really, really tough time and make it through intact so that we can come out on the other side stronger for it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, and kudos to you for your role in all of this, certainly.
Thanks. It's like I said, it's rewarding, but it's also, we're not stopping because we see that the need is still there, and accessing government funds, for the people who were able to access the government funds, it wasn't enough. And there were plenty of people who weren't able to access the funds. And so, we just try to keep communicating that more help is needed from us, but more help is needed at the state level and at the federal level. Policymakers need to step up with interventions to be able to help businesses in any way they can. It's still an all hands on deck situation. It was in March and it is now. So,
yeah, keep continuing the good fight. So Amanda, so next month, actually, I think in about a week or so, yes.
I know, yeah.
It's coming up close. You guys are doing another one of your local holiday edition fests. Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, so, like so many events this year, we had to kind of pivot, I'll use the word of the year, and figure out a way. Our vendors that set up at our festivals lost almost every opportunity to sell this year. We do have a retail store in downtown Hyannis where we sell a lot of their goods. And, we continued when we were able to open that, we have that open. And, but we felt really strongly that we wanted to still try to connect consumers with our local makers and our local brands. And so we usually have 3 festivals a year: July, September, and December. And so for our July and September events, we went completely virtual. We have a dedicated webpage on our website, lovelovelocal.com, and where the vendors set up with their booths, and people can watch a video that kind of allows you to meet the maker, really, and tells you about their product. And we have a dedicated Facebook group for the vendors as well, where they are posting throughout the festival sales and deals and new products. And then on our Instagram stories, we do kind of like our picks for their products, and we can directly link people to their websites through our stories. So we tried to move it completely online, in order to keep everyone safe, but continue to connect them. We did move it, we changed it from a day to a week long, so people could kind of, we know people are tired of being on their computers. So we kind of were like, take your time. So our holiday festival is usually one of the biggest shopping events of the year, and for our community and for these local vendors. And so we did this festival. We are kicking it, the week-long festival off, with an in-person pop-up event. It's a much more scaled down version of our festivals, as opposed to 120 vendors. We have 25 vendors in the West End parking lot in Hyannis. And we're following every regulation that the state and the town put forth. We have to be very strict with traffic, so we can only have 100 people shopping at a time. And so we're inviting people to register. We will accept walk-ins, but registrations will take precedence. So people who registered will be let in first. And that's the pop-up event that sort of kicks off the week-long virtual event. So we have something for people who are comfortable being out masked in the community. You know, it's gonna, like I said, we're following every regulation for community events. And so, but if you're not comfortable, you will be able to participate in the virtual event, where we actually have more vendors participating. So we have 40 vendors in a little over 40 vendors in the virtual event. So we actually recommend people do both if they are comfortable. Yeah, and we felt like, you know, the state has put forth these guidelines for in-person events. We are following them, and we felt comfortable doing it. We know people are missing interacting with the vendors in person, and being able to like see the product. And, you know, so that's why we decided to do that. And it will, like I said, it's kicking off the week-long virtual event. So, so we
and
have
that's Saturday, December 5th, the pop-up event.
Yep. So the pop-up is Saturday, December 5th, and then the whole fest goes through to Saturday, December 12th.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a wonderful event. I'm so excited you guys are able to do that in this.
Yeah,
in this form.
We're excited too. I mean, you know, the vendors are really, like I said, they've lost, you know, every opportunity to sell and have had to get really creative. And the virtual events, you know, I think went well. They went really well, but there's just something about, you know, in-person shopping, which, you know, is one of the beauties of shopping local and not online.
Right.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Amanda, is there anything else on the horizon for you guys looking to next year? Or?
Well, we're going to continue. So this year we released our Local Matters report, which actually showed, we did an analytical study on the Cape's businesses to see, you know, how much of their money stays in the community as opposed to national chains or online behemoths. I won't name any names, but we found that local businesses, restaurants and retailers keep 2 to 4 times the amount of their income in our local community as opposed to chain stores. And then when you shop online, it's virtually no money stays in the community. I will make an exception. If you shop online with a local retailer, it does stay in our community. So it counts as shopping local. And a lot of our local retailers have done a really good job of going online and putting their offerings online. We've seen it ourselves with our online store. Most of our orders are coming from Cape Codders, which is such a different thing than it existed 9 months ago. It's so interesting. And I think that's kind of a good thing, is that people are like, oh, my local stores might not still be there if I don't patronize them, but I can shop with them online. So I think that's a really good thing. But we're going to keep looking into, you know, producing research that shows not just anecdotes about why it's important to shop local, but, you know, hard numbers and hard facts, and looking at the trends, that the national trends that people think won't touch Cape Cod, but they will. And so we're gonna keep doing that next year, and keep pushing, advocating for the small business community with policymakers. There are some policies on Beacon Hill that could be passed that would help our struggling restaurants, in particular, hospitality industry, and really just try to get our policymakers to start passing some legislation that will ease the financial burden that they're facing right now, as they're not able to invite as many customers as they usually can into their establishments. So And then we're just gonna, keep on keeping on with all the stuff that, our publications, our retail store, and then fingers crossed next year our festivals can go off as they usually do with as an amazing community event. And then we'll the Resilience Fund will keep going. Right now, we're actually doing a dedicated fundraising effort for the wedding vendors in the wedding industry. Most of them are reporting a 75% loss of income this year, and they're an important economic driver of the region, and we can't afford to lose them. So we're, they bring in millions of dollars, over $50 million a year into the region. And so we're running a specific fundraising round for wedding vendors, and then we'll go back to, looking for opportunities for the rest of the new people who come and apply to us, and then the people that have applied that haven't been able to access funds, we're gonna, work hard for them as well.
Awesome. Well, Amanda, I'm so glad to know that such an organization like yours exists in this community, and it's so awesome to hear about everything that you guys are doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It means a lot.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for your time here today. I greatly appreciate it.
It was fun.
Yeah. Okay. And thanks everyone for watching. Bye.